and welcome. You're watching Vision Plus. I'm Bonnie Libhart, and have you ever gone through your life when maybe you had a wonderful childhood, you had an incredible life, things were set up, maybe you didn't exactly do what your mommy and daddy wanted you to do, but you had a path of your own, like the movie you know I'm in, called A Path of Your Own, and you just wanted to go for it. Well, the one that you're meeting now, Gary Stair, like climbing up the stair, is here with us, and he's from Philadelphia. You know, we lived in Lancaster County for many years, and we were in Philadelphia on 9/11 when we had just left there and going to Nazareth, PA, and back to Philadelphia, and couldn't get our hotel room. A lot of people slept on the floor and whatever because it was over. But this guy still lives in Philadelphia, and he is part of the Win Online and the Win on Land. So welcome, Gary Stair.
Well, it's good to be here, and thank you for taking this time to speak with us today.
Right, I tell you what. Gary Stair is just a delightful person. Saw him in Salt Lake City, I believe.
You met me in Salt Lake City, yes. But we met you in L.A.
That's right, we did.
L.A. at the Bonaventure.
He was running all this equipment, and they had said nobody was over here to run their little camera, and I said, I'll do it. I had no clue what I was doing.
That's right. You did the camera, and I did the AV for the sound.
That's right.
So we were a team.
We didn't know how many years in the future we'd be together. But I want to welcome you to this area and to tell you that we're so happy that you joined the WIN. Well, first of all, you just got to tell me a little bit about your background.
Okay.
Your dad was a doctor.
That's correct.
He probably wanted you to be a doctor.
He certainly did. And I was born and raised in Ann Arbor. My father was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and my father was at University of Michigan Medical School, and he tells this story about me running around the campus with just a diaper on, and I was so fast that they would keep running after me, but Dad went to medical school, finished up medical school. We moved to Detroit for a short period of time, and then we moved back to Ann Arbor when Dad moved into private practice, and so I spent most of my junior high school and high school years in Ann Arbor, University of Michigan football, and I have a great mom and a sister, Nola, who's now in London, and we made Ann Arbor our home for a number of years. And I spent a lot of time with Dad in the hospital and surrounding medicine, and
he came out of his diaper when he was doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Finally came out of my diaper. But
what's your sister doing in London?
My sister, actually, my dad says she's the star of the Stair family. She's an administrator at Greenwich University. So We're very proud of her. She's done an outstanding job in educating and doing online programs for multiple disciplines. So she's done very well. So she's living in London, and I think she wants to move back to the States because she says it's a little gray there. She and her husband are there. So.
Well, I loved Oxford. I went there and got my degree from Oxford Graduate School, my doctorate,
nice.
And lectured then later at Oxford. Really do. I loved Oxford. And they had a Taylor Museum.
Okay.
My maiden name was Taylor, and they had guards there to guard the Stradivarius and different things there. But I loved London and their buses, 2 stories high, and I got to go right up to the when they were having the change of the guard. So I just love everything about England, especially I wish I could learn their accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Not so Alabama Southern. But
exactly.
Anyway.
And my wife and I spent a lot of time with Nola and Dalton in London, most recently for the Summer Olympics.
Really?
Yeah, celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
we went to London, spent some time with them. Then Lynn and I went to Venice for a few days. Then my daughters flew over to Rome, and we got on a cruise ship and did the Mediterranean for our 25th. But got to see a lot of different people and cultures, and that kind of brings me back to the WIN and meeting Paula and understanding her mission and vision for all of us to empower women and empower families and empower men all around the world. But we really have to take it one step at a time and build a foundation.
And what you're saying is so true. My husband and I got to tour around the world before he passed away, but and speak in Rome, in Malmö, Sweden.
Okay.
Malmo is the way to spell it.
Exactly.
If you say it, Malmö.
Uh-huh.
And so Karachi, Pakistan, New Delhi, India, Hong Kong, and back to Hawaii, where I spoke to 1,000 women. But what I learned in 16 countries in Europe and all of those places, the need is, the desire is the same.
Absolutely.
You get the skin off, and we're all the
We're
same.
all the same.
The need to be needed, loved, appreciated, want to accomplish something. It goes skin deep, and it's there.
That's right.
And so I want to know what you did. You didn't become the doctor your daddy was.
No, I didn't.
What did you do?
Well, I was accepted to medical school, but I saw my dad's lifestyle, you know. I mean, we never got a chance to see him because he was always on call or always on the go. And so I was in Dad's office, and I said to Dad, what does medicine look like 20 plus years from now? And he said, private practice will be a dinosaur, malpractice insurance will be out of control, your office hours will be your own, you'll be owned by somebody, and there will be some sort of national medicine. And so here we are with Obamacare.
Oh my goodness.
He hit the nail squarely on the head 20-something years ago.
Who is a medical doctor, sold his practice. He said, I'm not going through it.
Yeah.
Sold his practice, and he now just does flight physical. Because exactly what you said has happened, and there are many. Do you know what they said? That in the future there's going to be a shortage of doctors because the people are not going to go to medical school for becoming a doctor to be put in a little cubicle and you will do this and you will do that. No.
Yeah, so physicians will be employees one day, we think,
That's
but there will be a
right.
lot of opportunity for
So
nurses.
what did you do? Yeah.
So I was in Dad's office, and I saw several of the pharmaceutical representatives coming in and promoting products, and you know, it was a good fit for me. And so I said, Dad, what do you think of these companies? And so he Xeroxed off a half a dozen or a dozen of the companies at that time. So I'd applied to Eli Lilly, Merck, and Upjohn, and I got offers from each one of those, and I picked Lilly purely because it was my mother's name. Lily Stair. And so I figured I couldn't go wrong with that.
Honor your mother.
Exactly. So then I went to...
Like the good book says, honor your father and mother.
Exactly. And so I was with Eli Lilly for about a decade, and I got an opportunity to do some great things at Lilly, launching Prozac around the world again, getting more international exposure, and to your very point, understanding the needs, wants, and concerns of people around the world, from a medicinal, from a healthcare, from a physical, spiritual.
You know, that's everybody is. It affects them differently. I took one Prozac, drove like a dizzy dean to 40 miles away to my daughter-in-law, and slept for 3 days.
Oh my
so you know, different people, their body reacts differently to all of these things like that. So,
that's correct.
You have to figure out your own body,
That's
no matter
right.
what the doctor
No matter what the doctor says. But the thing about it is, those medicines have helped. There were some breakthrough medicines, and they've really helped some people.
Oh, absolutely.
But my real passion is kind of an educational slant from the healthcare perspective. I fell in love with the products that Lilly promoted for diabetes, the insulins.
Yes.
And I really took a kind of a passion for myself to help diabetics understand blood sugar control and eating and exercising, because those are the things that really help them get better. So this passion that I've developed for education around diabetics or depression or cholesterol, you know, are really the core. I mean, they're additional pieces to who you really are. So as long as we can help people understand why they need the medication, how they can take care of themselves better, get engaged and get involved in information, they can make better informed decisions for themselves.
I think that it really helped my husband live maybe an extra year or two just from his diabetic medicine. But he also went to eating 1 egg instead of 2, and he exercised, and he lost 83 pounds.
That's
and, you
big,
know,
made a big difference.
And he had a good life, even though he had to go to kidney dialysis, and then he'd gone to work. He came up with another invention. He has lots of inventions. And that everybody that's ever ridden on a plane, when the food cart comes down the aisle, the brake is his patent.
Wow,
and so,
that's amazing.
Yeah, lots of things. But it's because of the work that you did in the work that people like you did that made it possible for him to have a wonderful last few years of his life?
Well, a research scientist did most of it. I was just out there helping to sell it and promote it and getting it in the right hands so that those hands can help others. That's kind of the way I look at my job.
So did you stay there?
I stayed with Lily for about a decade, then I went to Bristol-Myers Squibb and continued working in diabetes. Had an opportunity to learn about cholesterol and blood pressure medications at that time. So because with diabetes, it's not just the diabetes and that syndrome that really you die from. I mean, it's the combination of diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, all of those components, if not taken care of, kind of in a together type of format, really hurts people long term. With their eyes, their kidneys, and their feet. So.
Really? But I think, I disagree a little bit about that. I think that high cholesterol can be inherited or family trait, and that people can have high cholesterol that eat right, that exercise, that do not take those statins, that have this terrifying thing to me about statins is you get the medicine and you get this page about this long of all the side effects.
Exactly.
And so I don't think we need to always take statins.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, whenever we introduce medications into the general population, we're all somewhat guinea pigs for at least a decade or so until we understand the real effects. But I mean, we know that studies have proven.
Is that possible that it's just that you could have a high cholesterol count and not necessarily have diabetes or
absolutely. We're born with cholesterol streaks in our bodies already from birth. So it's just a matter of the American diet somewhat, I think hurts us a little bit.
Of course it does.
There's got fast food
on
every corner.
I'm over in the Philippines and they're like this and they're, that you don't see obese people there.
I mean, the diets are just, we're very fast food. That's right.
They didn't have too many McDonald's around the world.
That's right. I mean, I look at our Neanderthal counterparts. I mean, they were chasing down dinosaurs. They got their exercise to get their food. We drive through restaurants and say biggie size,
Yeah, right.
So those dinosaurs are still here
So
today.
did you stay with Squibb?
I left it. Left Squibb partially because my healthcare field in pharmaceuticals I had this yearning to be more entrepreneurial, and so I wanted to stay in healthcare. So I went to a couple of small startup companies and took the knowledge that I had from Bristol-Myers Squibb and Eli Lilly and tried to put it in a smaller organization to help build them. And so I did that with a couple of startups.
So you were an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reach over here and get this timer. So go ahead and tell me about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, I had this entrepreneurial spirit and I wanted to take some of the learnings that I have and share them with others. And kind of expand my own knowledge a little bit.
Well, why did you think you got that entrepreneurial spirit? Are we just kind of born with that? Maybe, or I know I have it, and my husband had it, my daughter has it, my son has it. Where does it come from? Can anybody get an entrepreneurial spirit?
I think if we follow our passions, and for me, I knew a passion for me was healthcare. So I always wanted to stay somewhat related to education and health, and healthcare. I think I got to a point though, and many pharmaceutical companies aren't going to want to hear this, but I think we went a little overboard on drugging America. I think, we don't need 10 antidepressants and we don't need 35 antibiotics, and I think we need to get back to some of the basics and fundamentals of diet and exercise and, the proper sleep habits, and then eventually, if you need medication, go from there. But, aside from that...
Do your common sense things.
Exactly.
Hey, if you're obese, if you're not walking, or if you're not drinking water, get a clue that might help you to have fruits and the vegetables.
Exactly, and I think if we get back to some of those basics and fundamentals, I think we will be a much healthier society because we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're looking for answers in a pill, and so I'm sure companies are going to come out with these anti-obese drugs that are going to help people lose weight or something. But I mean, I still think We have to find it in ourselves to get out there and do it instead of just rely on a pill.
That's true. So what did you stay with that? What's your next phase?
So I moved through the pharmaceutical industry, and I moved into, just by happenstance, an individual asked me, how would I build a call center for pharmaceutical companies? Because I knew at that time the pharmaceutical industry had gotten so big, and obviously when things get so big, at some point in time they're going to get small again. But these companies would continue to need to promote their products. And so I helped him build up a call center that would be just for pharmaceuticals.
Why don't you kind of explain what a call center is?
Absolutely. So obviously the typical call center you see a bunch of cubes and you see a bunch of people with headsets that answer phones, and many of us call these on the telephone and we talk to somebody on the other end. We don't see them, but we're calling them for repair on our computer, or we've got a message from somebody to call them back or whatever. And most of the time, a lot of these jobs are overseas, in India or the Philippines or China, so forth and so on.
Helping me with my computer, and I'll say, "Could you get me an English-speaking person?" English-speaking person.
Yes, exactly. So it's very, and so the language issue became a barrier in a lot of pharmaceutical companies, because a lot of the products that they talk about are very technical, and so we wanted to try to keep it in the U.S. and give U.S. jobs, and so we got a couple of pharmaceutical companies to support us, and we built these call centers, and we hired old pharmaceutical reps to sit in a seat and to present their sales messages over the telephone or the internet or through WebExes to physicians in their doctor's offices instead of us going face to face. Now, I think face to face is always better, but in the essence, when you don't have that opportunity, at least the doctors can get the information over the telephone.
Everybody trying to, pull in the reins and not spend so much flying Gary out all over the world, all over the United States, and your girls tell me about your employees that you have doing that.
Yeah, well, the employees, I mean, and so I think as I helped this individual build the first call center, to me, I saw it as an opportunity for me to at least learn about this business because I was intrigued about it, and I always wanted to have a business for myself. And so I worked with a couple other companies that did this business, and I learned from each one of them. And so when the opportunity came for me to actually purchase an existing call center that had some history, the opportunity was right in front of me, and I said, now is the time. And so with the support of my two daughters, Caitlin and Kylie, and my wife, Lynn, we talked about this. I bought this call center that had been in existence since 1997, and the current owners were looking to sell it. And so I bought the business from them, and I've got an IT person and a client services person who helped me establish these contracts, and we hire people to come in and work and pay them a little bit better of a wage than they would normally get at a call center, because we try to screen the best people to get them on the phone with the right phone voice and to have the right attitudes. And I learned that if you take care of the people that work for you, they will take care of you. And so we're trying to build a very strong bond between, employee and employer.
Well, let's hear who they are, because they're going to be here in this program.
Well, for the WIN program, I know that I've got...
Now, we got to jump and see how you tied up with Paula.
Before
you go...
Before I go to that point. It's interesting. One of the individuals that's very well connected to the WIN, Dolores Seawright.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's a fabulous woman, and we connected.
And she's got such a great attitude with the 4th stage cancer.
Exactly.
She's just wonderful.
Wonderful woman, and so
where's she from?
She's from the East Coast, the West Coast, Phoenix, California area, and so she and I used to work together for a pharmaceutical company years ago, and we kind of drifted apart after the pharmaceutical company had some changes. And through LinkedIn, of course, she and I connected over LinkedIn, and we talked about what each other was doing, and I had just completed the call center purchase, and she had talked to me about what she was doing with Paula Fellingham for the WIN. And that's very interesting, and Dolores said, I think you need to talk to Paula because we could use your services to help recruit and empower women on the programs that Paula is trying to establish. And so Paula called and we talked, and I just loved her enthusiasm and her passion and her energy. And she was having a program at the Bonaventure, and I said, well, let me come and see what the program is like so I can better
That's exactly what I
inform.
did.
Yeah.
I said, let me just come and see. Let me, in essence, check you out live.
Yeah, test the waters, so to
Test
speak.
the waters.
And so we got there testing the waters, and we ended up swimming and doing all sorts of work, right?
I'm telling you, that Hector Setzer was walking around, and he had this camera equipment, and Paula had that camera set up in the middle, and she said, we got to find somebody to run the camera. And I thought, I can do that.
Yeah.
I may not be Thaddeus Brooks, but I can do that. He's the head of our videography, editing and all that. Anyway, so I hope she got a new one of those tripods, because it kept falling.
It kept falling. Well, I mean, and I was
but
very...
I did that for 2 days, and you gave...
I did the audio-visual.
How did they find you nude audio-visual?
Yeah, I mean, I had obviously conducted some speaker programs and things from my pharmaceutical days, so I was very familiar with the, you know, working the laptop and, you know, changing the sound and, you know, putting in discs to play up on screen. So, I mean, I was familiar with the process. I had never worked one of the soundboards or anything before, but it seemed fairly simple. And so after a quick little brush up from one of the hotel sound people, we ran with it, and it was a delight to be at the program and hear all of the speakers. And it really kind of, because I have 2 daughters, I mean, it was nice for me to see that there are some great opportunities for women, you know, to globally. I mean, and it's great to see women rallying together to help one another. And I think that's really the vision of the WIN network, is to help, you know, women helping women. And, you know, this global movement to have women help themselves and help their families and help entrepreneurs. I mean, I just think it's just a fabulous, I mean, it touches all aspects of life.
And, feel like they can do it.
That's right.
And, you know, we have, I have never met a woman that didn't say, I always wanted to write a book, and I think, quit wishing, start writing.
Start doing it.
We're going to do that about our entrepreneurship. In our church, we have this missionary, I go with the missionaries to the Philippines, different places. Well, we help women start their entrepreneurship. It may be a scarf, and they add a little Velcro to it to make a scarf that hooks together. Anything that's a business that we work with. So that's what part of what you are doing. But how did you get the guts to just make that switch to add the wind of what you were doing?
Well, you know, we all want to be involved in things that we feel are spiritually moving. I know my cousin Brian several years ago said, you know, Gary, here's an opportunity for us to be a part of history by going to the Million Man March in D.C. You know, 1 million African-American men on the mall in Washington, D.C., listening to, you know, speeches and hearing other stories of other successful people and so forth and so on. So we drove from Detroit to D.C., and we were a part of that. And so I always look at that piece as being very important. But this was also another opportunity to be in on the ground floor, so to speak, of another incredibly important movement for women today. Both of my daughters are very interested in helping other women and enriching their lives. And they got it from my wife. Clearly, they got it from my wife, because she's a visionary and she's a great mom, and she has started a couple of her own businesses in the past while staying home and, you know, and being a full-time mom, which is the hardest job on the planet. I had it easy going someplace and going to work, but she was in the trenches making it happen all the time. So obviously my daughters have done very well, obviously from both of us, but my wife Lynn has had a major influence on their development.
So you saw the WIN as the next million
march, so to speak.
Million women march across the world.
Well, you know, there are more women than men, so I mean, it's multi-million. But I think, you know, however we can help women understand how to, you know,
feel good about themselves,
spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, understand that they can do whatever they want to do, hearts and desire. If they have a contact that's going to help them think differently or do something differently or help another person in need. I mean, we really as a culture need to get back to the basics and fundamentals and taking care of each other and looking out for each other. I mean, all the things that are going on in the world today that are just atrocities, and it's just atrocious, some of the things that we do. I mean, I remember growing up, you know, my mom would say, Gary, go outside and play and don't come home until the street lights come on. I mean, parents don't have that ability today because we're so worried about what's going to happen to our kids. Right. Our kids are going to be missing. But I think we just as a culture just need to get back to taking care of each other and helping one another and loving one another, which is what the win is all about. The win is all about love and being able to bring people in and help other people and move forward. And I just wanted to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. So you came and you just decided to just throw your hat in the ring, so to speak, and be the call center for all of us. I know I'm doing one in Nashville and also in Huntsville, and you're going to actually, let me use the term, fill the seats.
Fill the seats.
I only have to worry about getting the venue and you know, the vendors and the speakers, and you're going to do the hard part.
Well, I think, you know, I will
But that's for 50 in the United States.
50 for the United States. So Minchie and Cheryl and Shona and Decorah and April and Janice are going to be the real heroes of this whole thing.
You can't quit now because your name's publicly.
Yeah, you know, so that's the team. That's the team that's really going to help make this thing happen. And so they will be working with the individual Global Women's Summit directors, like yourself, for your programs and helping put people in the seats in your audience.
Right,
and so our goal would be to make that happen.
Huntsville, Alabama, with the Space and Rocket Center and Marshall Flight, Space Flight Center, and all NASA and all the things that are going there.
Yeah.
So we're so happy that you joined us. We look forward to working long term with you.
Oh, I plan on being here for as long as you'll have me.
Okay, Gary Stair.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate him, and now we got to help him write his book, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And we're glad you joined us, and we want you to come to our Women's Global Network Summit meeting. Come next April, and well, you're going to have them from February through November.
We're going to start. We're going to start booking the end of February.
And we're glad. We want you to be a part. Call our number, and we'll get you right involved. TheWinOnline.com. THEWIN online. That's Women's Information Network. And we have the men too. We have the men is
I can't remember Matt. Is it Matt?
And Matthew has the men that are how to be fathers.
That's right.
Leadership
kind of a leadership, yeah.
And we're glad
Return to manhood.
Return to manhood. That's it. Love it. Okay, we want you to return to us the next time we're together.
All right.
I'm Bonnie Libhart with Gary Stair. Bless your heart for us.